Hello, my name is Andrew Hagle. Many of you know me as Sniggle Fluffy on Experience Project or Truckin' Hubby on Twitter. And in today's day and age, with everybody's got smartphones and tablets and computers, and you can do more and more and communicate more and more electronically and on the road and everywhere and around the world, more and faster internet, leaves a lot of concerns about what does the government actually know about you. How can the government actually spy on you, and actually what's going on with that? So I have two videos for you, both from William Binney, who is a former NSA official and a whistleblower in the NSA. They were both recorded in 2012. One was in April, one was in November, with Democracy Now! And RT, respectively. And since today, May 15th, 2013, was the day that Eric Holder appeared before Congress in regards to the scandal of the government snooping on AP. Thought this was quite important to what was going on in the world and just exactly how private is your information. So I look forward to your comments on this. This is the first segment of William Binney from Democracy Now! On what he did at the NSA and why he left.
Binney, you worked for the National Security Agency for more than 3 decades.
Almost 4.
Almost 4 decades. Yeah. You, for a time, directed the NSA's World Geopolitical and Military Analysis Reporting Group. Tell us what you did, and then why you left and what happened to you afterwards.
Well, I was the technical director of that group that basically looked at the world. So we looked at all the technical problems of in the world and see how we could solve collection, analysis, and reporting on military and geopolitical issues all around the world, every country in the world. So it was a rather large technical problem to tackle, but and one of the largest problems we thought we had was looking at the World Wide Web and all the ballooning and mushrooming communications in the world, and our ability to deal with that was diminishing over time. So I kind of referred to it as our inability to keep up with the rate of change. So we were falling behind the rate of change. So I had a very small group of people in a lab, and we decided to attack that problem, and we did it by looking at how we could graph the network of communications and all the communications in the world, and then focus in on that graph and use the graph to limit what we wanted to attack. And we basically succeeded at that, but in the process, of course, we scooped up Americans from different places, so we had to protect their identities according to our laws and privacy rights of U.S. citizens. So under UCIT 18, we built in protections to anonymize their identities, so you couldn't really tell who you were looking at.
And that's because the NSA could do surveillance from abroad, but not of U.S. citizens.
Well, and you see, the World Wide Web routes things all over, so you never really know where U.S. citizens' communications are going to be routed. So if you were collecting somewhere else on another continent, you could still get U.S. citizens. That was a universal problem. So we devised how to do that and protect U.S. citizens. And this is all before 9/11, and we devised how to do that, made that effective and operating. So we were actually prepared to deploy about 8 months before 9/11, and actually have a system that would run and manage the what I call 20 terabytes a minute of activity. But after 9/11, all the wraps came off for NSA, and they decided to, between the White House and NSA and CIA, they decided to eliminate the protections on U.S. citizens and collect on domestically. So they started collecting from a commercial, the one commercial company that I know of that participated, provided over 300. Well, probably on the average about 320 million records of communications of a U.S. citizen to a U.S. citizen inside this country.
What company?
AT&T. It was long-distance communications. So they were providing billing data. At that point, I knew I could not stay because it was a direct violation of the constitutional rights of everybody in the country. Plus, it violated the Pen Register Law and Stored Communications Act, the Electronic Privacy Act, the Intelligence Acts of 1947 and 1978. I mean, it was just a whole series of, plus all the laws covering federal communications governing telecoms. I mean, all those laws are being violated, including the Constitution, and it was a decision made that wasn't going to be reversed, so I could not stay there. I had to leave.
This next video is the video from RT, where Mr. Binney talks about just what extent the FBI has access to emails that are sent in this country, and exactly what he thinks that they do with them.
FBI has access to the data collected, which is basically the emails of virtually everybody in the country, and the FBI has access to it. All the congressional members are on this surveillance too. It's not, no one's excluded. They're all included. So yes, this can happen to anyone if they become a target for whatever reason. If they are targeted by the government can go in, or the FBI or other agencies of the government can go into that database, pull all that data they've collected on them over the years, and reanalyze it all. So retroactively analyze everything they've done over the last 10 years at least.
He goes on to describe the AT&T facility in San Francisco, California, and exactly how powerful that facility is. I think it will amaze you just to what extent that the NSA has gone to monitor Americans.
AT&T facility in San Francisco documented the NSA room inside that AT&T facility where they had NARIS devices to collect data off the fiber optic lines inside the United States. So that's kind of a powerful device that would collect everything that was being sent. It could collect on the order of over 100 billion 1,000 character emails a day. One device.
And just what does he think they do with all these emails? Mr. Binney goes on to describe a hit list, or a list of people who are dissidents from the government, people who don't agree, and what he thinks about it, and if he thinks he's on it, how that works.
I believe I've been on it for quite a few years, yeah. So I keep telling them everything I think of them in my email.
In this final segment, William Binney goes on to describe what's going on with the Obama administration, and he also talks about the facility in Buffdale, Utah, a $2 billion facility that is under construction to basically capture almost any type of electronic communication that the NSA wants to.
The change is that it's getting worse. They're doing more. That's why he is supporting the building of the Buffdale facility, which is over $2 billion they're spending on storage alone of data. So that means that they're collecting a lot more now. The central government defines what is right and wrong and whether or not they target you. So it's not up to the individual. They're violating the foundation of this entire country, of what our entire foundation of why this entire government was formed. It's founded with the Constitution and the rights given to the people in the country under that Constitution. They're in violation of that. And under Executive Order 13526, Section 1.7, governing classification, you cannot classify information that just to cover up a crime, which this is. And that was signed by President Obama. Also President Bush signed an earlier executive order, a very similar one. If any of this comes into the Supreme Court and they rule it unconstitutional, then the entire house of cards of the government falls.
I am Andrew Hagle, and I brought you this message. Please join me on social media to continue the conversation. I'm on Experience Project as Sniggle Fluffy. I'm on Patriot Action under my own name, Andrew Hagle, as well as I'm on Facebook, Vimeo, and YouTube under my own name, Andrew Hagle, and I'm on Twitter as Truckin' Hubby. Thank you for watching, and God bless.